I want to welcome everybody today to the EntreprenHer Show. My name is Heidi Mooney. I am the founder of Women in E-Commerce, president of Redhead Marketing, and publisher of We Magazine for Women, and of course, your host for the EntreprenHer Show. And as I always say, I find some amazing women to share with my audience about all kinds of things: internet marketing, social media, how to run a business, branding, publicity, and more. And today is no exception. I have an amazing woman whom I've known for several years, and she has a really cool business model. So I want her to share that with all of us. And let me give you the formal introduction of Chris first, and then we'll start asking some really cool questions. So Chris, her name is Chris Guld. Chris loves to learn and loves to teach. She travels the country in an RV with her husband, Jim. Hey, there's a picture. Awesome. Woohoo! Offering seminars at RV rallies, computer clubs, and senior centers. They make their living through their website, Geeks on Tour. It is a membership website where a small annual fee gives access to tutorial videos, Ask the Geeks, and class notes for their free weekly web class about smartphones called What Does This Button Do? Oh my goodness. Welcome, Chris. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for inviting me, Heidi. It's nice to see you, even if just through the computer screen.
I know, but it feels like we're in the same room almost. This is why I love this technology. I mean, Chris, by the way, I'll just mention that Chris and I know each other originally through the Women's Executive Club of Fort Lauderdale. It's an amazing group, and I was a member for several years. I'm not a member this year, but I may be renewing next year. It really depends on when their meetings are. And so, Chris, I apologize for not seeing you much lately, and hopefully I'll get back in. So we're both South Floridians, but Chris really has an interesting story. So let's start with your background. Chris, tell us how you first got interested in teaching technology and the experience that led you to choose it as a career path.
Well, we have to go back to 1983. I was a lawyer in California, but my mom was here in Florida, and she's a business person. She got involved in the very first Apple computer that came out and wanted to start a business teaching them. And she said, "Why don't you come to Florida and help me?" I thought that sounded like a great idea. I was doing divorces at the time, and computers are a lot more reasonable.
They don't talk back.
So we started a business here in Fort Lauderdale called Computer Savvy and ran that from 1983 to 96. So that was a regular stick and brick computer training. Then I met my husband, Jim, and we decided to take off. We sold our house in Fort Lauderdale, took off in an RV, and traveled the country, but we still needed to make a living somehow. We found that people on the road had computers and wanted to learn how to use them. So we started giving lessons wherever we were. And now with the internet technology, we can deliver training online anytime, anywhere. So, and I don't even consider it a business, really. When you said, how did I choose this career path? I thought, it's not a career. I'm just having fun.
But it sounds to me like a lifestyle business, because you have this lifestyle of traveling, which is what you sounds like you first started doing and then decided, wow, we might as well make some money while we're doing all this traveling. So is that kind of what happened? I mean, how did you find it out that you could actually do this as a business? What was the first thing you did?
Well, I guess I've always been an entrepreneur. I've never had a job. So I've always had to figure out how to make a living with whatever I like to be doing wherever I am. So, I was a lawyer and had a law business, and then a computer training business with my mom, another woman entrepreneur. And then we're on the road, and I'm just always thinking. And I figure with the internet, you can have a business anywhere you are, as long as it can be an online business. So that's what we did. In our first RV, This was 2003 when we sold our house and we started living in an RV, traveling the country. There's no such thing as smartphones, tablets. There is no such thing as cell phones. I mean, as cellular internet connections. So we spent $6,000 on a satellite dish that went on the roof of the RV. When we parked, we'd push a button, it would raise this satellite dish, get online through satellites with the internet, and then we had internet in our rig. I loved it.
Wow.
So we've just literally been putting one foot in front of the other and seeing where to step next, and it has built a business.
And why RV parks?
Well, because let's see, how did it go? When we first started, Jim actually had a bit of a job with a company called Coach Connect that put Wi-Fi in RV parks. Oh. So we traveled from RV park to RV park to help them and to teach them how to use the Wi-Fi in the RV parks. And from there, we went to the big RV rallies and we gave talks about this company's Wi-Fi in RV parks. And then that company went out of business. That's a whole other story. But meanwhile, our audiences really liked our teaching. So we started teaching more. We started teaching digital photos and making websites and I'm using Facebook. But so photos has ended up being a big passion and how to manage them.
So is Jim's background also in computers and technology?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Worked out perfect. You married the right guy.
Yep. Well, I didn't get married until 45.
Uh-huh.
And I think that's key. You know what you like, you know what you want. And yes, I found a perfect partner.
That is so great. What are you doing differently today than when you and your husband first started Geeks on Tour?
Probably the biggest thing is the online live streaming shows. Like we do a show every Sunday that is teaching people how to use smartphones and tablets. So you can come to class every Sunday. We still like to do the face-to-face, the real live seminars, and we'll be on the road in a couple of weeks, headed to a big rally up in Vermont where we're going to be doing that. But in order to reach a worldwide audience, which we do, we make these tutorial videos, and that's what's on our website. That's what the membership is for. But with the technology of this live streaming, it's just too cool. So we started 2 years ago just because we could. I mean, we don't charge any money for it. It's all on YouTube. It's all free. We just do it because we can.
So what do you use to create those live streams? I know you mentioned it to me, but let our audience know how you manage your live stream.
Yeah, we use Google Hangouts on Air. Number one, because it was the only thing there was. Right. 2 years ago, ancient history, 2 years ago. Right?
In tech terms, yes, it is.
And it's free. I mean, it really boggles my mind.
Figure that out.
It's like we have a worldwide television show, essentially, every Sunday at 2:00, that is then recorded, and we have people who watch us in Australia, in Germany, from India, and we don't pay a penny for that. Of course, that's both good and bad. Since we don't pay a penny for it, we just jump in, and there's a lot of work.
So how do people find out about your show and also about your company? How do you promote?
Well, that's what the RV rallies, the most of our audience comes because they have seen us live at a seminar, at an RV rally or a computer club or a senior center. We do that all over the country. We give live talks. But the second way is I developed a real specialty with the Google photo tools. For the last 10 years, that's been Picasa. Now, for the last year, it's been Google Photos. So I have a pretty good following. If you Google for Picasa help or you Google for Google Photos help, you'll probably end up at one of our websites. I have some specialized websites just for that. And so a lot of people have joined the Geeks on Tour website because I have 100 tutorial videos on how to use Picasa, and I now have 20 or 30 tutorial videos on how to use Google Photos.
So you have really established yourself as the expert. How many days? Go ahead.
Well, just there's no such thing as an expert. That just
well, it's the expert today. You know what you know today, and tomorrow there's something new to learn, and that's in this industry. That's always the way it is. So I can't tell you what tomorrow. In fact, I probably haven't looked at the newest, latest, and greatest today. So I'm probably even a day or two behind.
Right.
We're always ahead of most people if this is what we do for a living, and we should be.
Right.
But you're right. I mean, it's not, well, everything has evolved. Every industry has evolved, but especially when it comes to technology, I think it's really, it can be a real challenge even for an expert or a person who does this for a living to stay on top of it. So can you imagine people who are not doing it for a living, but just want to be able to utilize the tools properly?
I think of that all the time. I say, oh my God, what do normal people do?
Exactly.
It's just,
they just
I remember
don't.
doing a seminar on Google Photos, and we had, a couple hundred people in the audience, and we started teaching our Google Photos, and an update had come out that morning. Wow. So things didn't work the way we said they were supposed to work.
I've had that happen on social media like LinkedIn and Facebook, where I've taught something that I didn't, have a chance to update that day or look, and, so now I try to make a point of doing that, or just try to share more generic information, unless I'm doing a actual class, you have to.
Yeah. But I have found the perfect thing for me to do because I love learning, and there is no end to the learning that needs to be done if you're in this field of technology.
Absolutely. You have to love learning. So how many days of the year are you on tour?
Oh, it so varies. I mean, for several years, for 13 years, our RV was our only home. It's only been just this year that we now have a townhouse here in Fort Lauderdale, because we traveled the whole country, and I didn't like any place better than Fort Lauderdale.
Wow.
I love it. I love it here. So we had the opportunity for a townhouse, and so we've been here a couple months now. Then we'll go back on the road, and we'll be gone for 3 months. But usually, for the last 13 years, we've been on the road all the time.
So this is your home base of operation now.
This is our home base. Yes.
That's wonderful. And you have a lot of friends here. We know that. Let's talk about running a business. What is a typical day like for you? Or is there such a thing?
There is no such thing. I mean, some days we're on the road.
Right.
I love those days because Jim does all the driving. I have been known to, whenever I drive the RV, I make him take a picture to prove that I can. But that's the one time that I give myself permission to do nothing. I love to just sit and watch the scenery go by, listen to the radio, chat a little bit. So that's one thing we do. And then lots of times we are giving live seminars. I love an audience. And if there is nothing actually on our calendar, I'm in front of the computer, I'm learning new things, and I'm writing. I do a lot of writing. Our website has literally hundreds of articles on the stuff that we teach.
That's to get found in the search engines. So that would be a good tip for people, right? If you want to get found, you got to have content.
You got to have content. Yes. We have a lot of content, but it needs updating all the time.
Oh yeah. I'm redoing the Women in E-commerce website, because we just actually redid the website, and I'm redoing all the content. So I'm starting backwards from our first post. So you can imagine over 1,000 posts, and just going through it briefly. I mean, I'm not updating it entirely, because obviously it was, 2003 or whatever it was. I don't need to update it completely, but some of the links, that don't work, and, just refreshing it or pointing it to new places, which will also now give Google a chance to re-index it, which is nice, because some of the information, when it gets old, Google, discounts it. allows it. So it's nice.
So I'm curious, do you ever, I mean, when something gets really old, do you ever say that's too old and delete it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I deleted 7 or 8 articles recently out of maybe 20. So a third of them are getting deleted. But that's the really old stuff. Now, some of it I can delete and repurpose, meaning rewrite it at some point and re-add it to the site. But what my goal right now is to just review and see what's really relevant and what's not, so that Google doesn't give me any penalties for content that's no longer relevant. And then I can go back in and update it. Like, web design has changed a lot since 2003. So rather than writing an entire article, although I have articles I've never even published, I'll go in and just replace them with other articles. But for the most part, I'm going in to update links and references more than anything, to make sure that the references are now new, because, people do when they go to your site. If we get an average visitor stays on our site 7 minutes and visits 20 some pages, well, a lot of times they're going backwards too. They're visiting those old pages and going, oh, and then the content's meaningless to them,
When I first started making the tutorial videos, I was just teaching Windows basics. I mean, even just how to use a mouse and how to use tabs on a browser and things like that. And those are now 10-year-old videos, and some of them were done on XP, and I figured, got to get rid of those. And I told some people, and they said, oh no, we use those in our adult education classes all the time. We love those videos. Don't take them away. Okay.
Well, anything that's got a link to it, I don't remove. I just update. So, if the ones that have links back to them, you want to make sure you don't remove those. So what do you do for those things? Do you update them, or do you update the text on the page? What do you do?
There's just not enough time. I haven't done anything. They're just there.
Well, thank goodness I have an assistant that helps me, and she knows what to look for because she's really good at blogging and stuff. But it still takes time. I mean, it's not anything. It does. By the time I'm finished, it'll be the end of the year, and more stuff will be irrelevant. But at least it's a lot more updated than it was, because, quite frankly, most of the content from 4 or 5 years ago had never been updated. So really, that's the stuff I'm more interested in, those 2003 and stuff like that. Unless it's got a tutorial on it, it's probably just an article about, email marketing or something. And I've got hundreds of email marketing articles, so it's not something I need. Or, again, I guess and I talk to a lot of experts, they all have different opinions. So, I just figured, I want to keep the content there to become more of an authority in a certain topic. And that's what you have to do, is build the content, So.
When I felt I'm kind of forced to do some updating. I figure when we change themes. I know you use WordPress also.
Yes, yeah.
And my WordPress theme has gotten a little bit old. I need to do some remodeling. So I do have my WordPress guy is tasked now with changing the theme. And I figure that will bring a lot of stuff to the surface that I will then. That's
what happened with me, because we changed it to a brand new, responsive, full screen site. I wanted that look. Not that there's a better look than the other, but I didn't like the ones with the margins, with the backgrounds. I decided I wanted a full screen view, and just make it look, we're talking about e-commerce, so we wanted to be, up to date, and it probably should have been done 2 years ago. So, it's just like anything, finding the time. And so what do you tell people? Let's talk about automation. Obviously, to manage a business like you do, you have to have automation in place to manage your time. What do you do? What kind of automation techniques do you use that help you?
Not much. My automation? Hey, Jim, would you do this?
Well,
that's my automation. Jim, remember that this needs to be done. Will you take care of that?
Well, like promoting your programs, for instance, are those all done manually, or do you?
Well, we do have a mailing list. We use Aweber, okay. So when people sign up, they automatically get a follow-up and that kind of stuff. But not as much as we should, because I had a business with, 20 some odd employees at one point in time. And although if you can get all the employees on the same page and going the same direction, there is nothing better. Having a business with a group of people is wonderful. But if you don't have them all on the same page going, it is a lot of work. And we determined that we never want to get so big that we can't just do it ourselves. So there's a lot of things that just don't get done when it's just us.
Yeah, but you know what? The fact is you do have a partner who happens to be your husband, and he can do the things that you don't want to do and vice versa. So I guess that's your, as you said, Jim is your automation, but luckily you have someone. What about people who don't have someone? I mean, what advice would you give them?
Well, the web has just all sorts of stuff. The blogging that automatically posts out to Twitter and Google Plus and Facebook. Whenever you post a blog post, then it goes other places. I used Hootsuite for a while. I should keep using that. Hootsuite is a place where you can just post your writing and it goes to all the other places. The membership system, I think, is a wonderful way to make a living. I mean, our website is a membership website. So I work hard, but I am not working directly for the dollars that I get. I work hard to make everything go, but when people give me money, it's totally divorced from my time. They can sign up for a membership no matter where in the world they are, no matter what time of day it is. And I get a message from PayPal saying, you've got cash. And hopefully they've signed up for the recurring membership so that every year that comes in. And I figure my job is just to keep the content coming, keep giving them value.
So what membership program do you use? And
Wishlist, I think, is the thing that you use. Yes.
Yeah, I love Wishlist. But I mean, there are others now that are probably superior. I'm hearing about a lot of Member2 and a couple others that other people are using. I have clients who use different ones and they like them. But I think it's whatever works for you. I like easy. I like something, even though I'm a tech person, I don't do coding or anything like that. So for me, I need to have something easy. I can figure anything out. I've come to that realization, and I tell my clients, if you want to, you can.
Right, if you want to.
But most people don't want to. It's not that they can't do it. I have people tell me, oh, I can't do that. No, you don't want to do it because you can do it. You're smart. You've got a master's or a PhD. It isn't rocket science, but it is, there are steps involved. It's a process. It takes time to learn this stuff, So how did you learn how to do all this stuff? I mean, obviously you had a computer company, but that's totally different than like a membership. How did you first learn how to create a membership site?
Well, I've been thinking along those lines forever. I mean, I had a computer training company, and then I started doing computer training, and I want it to be automated. So I actually built my first membership site.
Oh, wow.
Myself using Cold Fusion.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I say. And actually it worked.
Yeah, I'm sure
it worked very well. And I loved that I had control of the database. I'm a real database person, but I am not a coder. I mean, my goal is to have fun. Coding to me is not fun. I can do it if I have to, but it's not fun and it's not a good use of my time. So once again, Wishlist was the first membership plugin to WordPress that I heard about. When we got into it in 2009, which I think is the year they.
Yep, when I got into it.
Yeah. And everything has its pros and cons. So whatever system that you get into, you need to learn how to use it.
Right.
And unless somebody else can really prove to me that another system is better, I'm going to stick with what I have.
Well,
and what's supported.
It works for you. You're making money with it. And I don't think that, I would never advocate changing unless something bigger, better, brighter, and less expensive came out, because obviously, and something that would be easier to manage. Although I think Wishlist is one of the easiest. I've looked at a lot of them. Yeah.
But the membership model is just so cool. I mean, to me, if you're going to make your living on the web, I think there's like, three ways: advertising, selling physical products or other people's products, affiliate, or membership. And it was never a question for me, but that I did not want to go advertising. I did not want to sell products. I wanted to do something that had value. And the only way to know if it has value is if people are willing to pay you for it. So the membership model to me was a no-brainer. It was and my job then is to keep enough content coming that makes it valuable to people.
And people will keep paying those annual dues, right?
Right.
So let's talk about what's probably been the let's talk about your ideal customer first. How do they find out about your programs? And who are they and how do they find out about your programs?
Yeah, our ideal customer is somebody who, number one, has and likes their technology. And number two, they really enjoy learning. And that's not everybody.
No.
Which surprises me. I think these things are so cool. And I love learning that I figure everybody does, but no, not everybody does. So that's who our customers are. And how they hear about us, still number one is if they're an RVer, they go to rallies. It's like conventions.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next rally, we're giving 7 and 8 seminars. So people get to know us when they go to the RV rallies. And if they're at all interested in technology, they find us. But we also do, as I say, get found via search if you're looking for help with Google Photos. I am what they call a top contributor for Google on Google Photos. So
fabulous.
I write
pictures and you post them.
And I write a lot of articles about how to do it.
Okay.
And then, of course, but what people pay for is the tutorial videos on our website.
Absolutely. So what's been a aha moment for you in business?
Aha.
Oh, you said it so much better than me.
Aha. It's been an aha moment in business. Well, as I say, I really don't think of myself as being in business. It's just having fun. My definition of success is to find something that you love to do so much that you do it for free. I got that one down. And to be so good at it that people are happy to pay you for the value. So that's where we're at. And just that it's okay to follow, just to keep aware of your surroundings, follow your footsteps and do what people want. I'm always listening. I'm always listening for what people need to know.
How do you find out about what people need to know? Do you find it through social media or through your audience or a combination?
Mostly through our audience. In fact, that's one big reason why we started this weekly show, is that when we're not at the RV rallies and having face-to-face contact with our audience, I want to have some communication. So we do, with this weekly class, our class yesterday was on how to free up space on your phone. And I realized that was a topic people needed from the week before, a question that somebody asked on the show. So yeah, I'm always listening, always thinking.
So what's your class coming up about, the one this Sunday?
Actually, we're taking this Sunday off.
Oh, yes. It's 4th of July weekend in the United States, for those of you interested. So.
And the 4th of July is our wedding anniversary.
Oh, happy anniversary. How wonderful.
Thank you. And we got married on a water taxi here in Fort Lauderdale. So we are going to go on a water taxi here in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh my gosh. Make sure you post lots of pictures for Facebook so we can all see that. That is fantastic. So what's been your single biggest success to date?
Jim is prompting me as my marriage. Yeah. Was
if you'd like to chime in, Jim, now's a good time.
You can just come and just stick your head in and say
hi. Say hi to the audience because they'd love to see you. There you go, Jim. Another geek on tour.
We are a team.
How you doing?
Well, I did think about that question a little bit. What's your biggest success? And I love an audience. So I remember my biggest audience as my biggest success. And that was at an RV rally out in Oregon at kind of the height of the popularity of Picasa. And our Picasa seminar had 700 people in the live audience, plus 400 people watching online. And that still gives me a thrill to think about that.
So were you live streaming while you were giving the program? Is that why you had 400?
Well, they were, the
RV company, RV park?
The venue was live streaming it. Yeah.
Oh, how wonderful. That is awesome. Well, congratulations. That's a great audience. You wouldn't think, because I don't travel in an RV, although I've been in one before, but never for very long. I'm not, it was hard to wrap my head around it. Do they have these, in the RV parks, do they have like big conference rooms that people give talks or do you have to go outside of the park to do this, or how does that work?
Well, the rallies that I'm talking about are fairly large. So they're held at fairgrounds and convention centers and racetracks. Probably one of the most fun ones was in North Carolina? Charlotte. In Charlotte. Yeah. And we were actually parked in the infield. Now we did not race around the track.
Can you imagine an RV race? Somebody get hurt. Equipment would go flying.
Yeah. So usually there's 2,000 to 3,000 RVs at these conventions. And there was a time when there was 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. They're not that big anymore, but still 2,000 and 3,000. It's a city that grows up for 3 or 4 days. Wow. and then goes away again.
That's
and
awesome.
Instead of people staying in a hotel room, they bring their own room with them. That's the RVs and park on the fairgrounds. It's fun. It's really fun. And which I say that's our main goal in life, is to have fun.
So instead of the suitcase entrepreneur, you're the RV entrepreneur.
Yep.
I'd love that.
Yep.
Chris, what books are you currently reading or would you recommend to our audience?
Well, the book I'm currently reading is about Australia, a sunburned country. I would love to go visit Australia. As far as business, the one that I've turned a couple people on to is called Free, just Free, Free. I forget the author. I could look it up on my Kindle here. But that's where I learned to be okay with giving away the majority of our content, that's the way it is now. I mean, it used to be that companies manufactured a product and they gave away 10% of their product as promotion for people to learn about it and then buy the 90% that was for sale. Now that product is delivered via the web and there's no incremental cost involved, the ratio has flipped. According to this book, it's like you give away 90%, that builds you an audience large enough that the 10% who want it all and are willing to pay for it can still make you a decent living. So that book really opened my eyes. I read that a long time ago. But
I'll have to check that out. And I like to, what we do with the show afterwards, in addition to all the, YouTube and all of that, we like to share like quotes we've learned from our audience, our guests, as well as books. I love to share the books that people are reading. So the Australia Sunburn is called Sunburn Country. Yes.
A Sunburn Country. Yes.
Because
By Bill
people
Bryson.
don't just read business books, you know, and so I'm always interested in what people are reading. I used to read a lot of Danielle Steele when I had time. That was like I had to get away from business entirely. I would just take my head out of everything. So, you know, now I just read whatever popular book is, you know, around. And
we did just read Elizabeth Warren's a fighting chance.
Fighting chance. Okay, let me write that one down too. A Fighting Chance.
Actually, I didn't read that. She read it to us. You know, it was her audio. She did the narration for the audio.
It was an audio book.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. So what online tools would you recommend to our audience to help them with their own technology challenges?
Well, Google Photos. I mean, most of our audience is not in business. They're other travelers or just having fun and take a lot of pictures. So that's our number one tool. That if I have 5 minutes with somebody and they say, okay, what should I be doing with this? I say, you should be using the camera and you should be using Google Photos to manage all the pictures. So that's my number one tool. If you are talking about for business, I say something like Aweber or Constant Contact, or what's the other one? MailChimp.
MailChimp, yes.
No matter how wonderful all the social media outlets are for getting the word out, I think you don't have a business unless you have a mailing list.
Oh, you don't? I mean,
yeah, the mailing list is still the foundation.
Yeah, you can start a business without it, but you need to build a business with one. So I definitely agree with you. I use Aweber and I use a new service called MailJet because I'm a very visual person. MailJet just has this drag and drop feature for your newsletters that is even superior to Constant Contact. And I like Constant Contact. Theirs is also drag and drop. I managed Constant Contact for 3 clients. I think maybe 4 coming up. And because that's what they're using. And I don't try to change people. If that's what you're using and you're used to it and you understand the technology, I don't want to move you to another one. Let's work with what you have. Those people are not going to be doing this full time for a living, you know.
I hear you there. Same here. If somebody takes a lot of pictures with their iPhone and they're using iCloud photo library and they like it, I'm not going to tell them that they need to go to Google Photos. But if they're having any issue with iCloud photo library, or if they haven't started using anything yet, Google Photos is amazing. Now, I don't know if you know, it's only been out for about a year, and it is a whole game changer in managing your digital photos. And
I will definitely look into it because I am not using it. I'm very familiar with Picasa. I'm also familiar with some of the storage devices. Like I upload all mine to Dropbox and then download them to the various places I need to use them for. But of course, I'm not traveling like your ideal client is as much. So I'm not taking that many photos. You know, maybe 10 a week. You know, they're probably taking 10 an hour. You know, or whatever it might be. Maybe more. Shoot. You know, the 10 I'm taking a week or 9 of the same picture and I find the best one, you know. So in addition to Google and your own website, what websites can you simply not live without, if any? And I'm sure there's got to be.
Amazon.
Oh, yeah. Amazon.
All the big ones. I mean, I don't have anything really unique to add to your, you know, I'm on Facebook all the time. I love Facebook for keeping in touch with far-flung friends. You know, I mean, like you, I certainly know you. I have your email somewhere. But if I want to communicate with you, hey, there's your face right there in Facebook. You know, I don't have to look it up I like Facebook a lot. Amazon, we spend way too much money on.
But they're all things you want, right?
Do such a good job. And I love the move videos. We use Amazon videos. And most everything else, I gotta say, is Google. I am a Google fangirl.
Yeah, me too. I love Google. I'm actually becoming a Bing fan too. I really like Bing because it's so much, to me, it's just easier, more visual, more intuitive. But that if Bing had been out before Google, I don't think I would have ever even gone on Google. But of course, there's some things you can't find on Bing, and vice versa. So
well, I'm talking about, Google Photos, Google Maps,
Google, without a doubt,
Google
My
Hangouts,
Business,
Google, all of their products, and it's only one login. And Google Calendar and Gmail.
I know.
Changed my life. You don't have to do any managing. It's just all there. I can look at my calendar on this device. I can look at my calendar on this device. I can look at my calendar on this device. And it's all the same calendar.
You can even log in anywhere and look at it, which is really nice. I love Gmail. I do. And I use all the Google products. I'm thinking more for search. In terms of search, I happen to like Bing a little better. But I absolutely agree with you. Google is amazing. Google Hangouts, like you mentioned. What one thing would you like to share with our audience that we perhaps didn't discuss, Chris?
Take time to play. If I'm above water, I'm working. So the way that I know that I'm on vacation is if I go scuba diving. I think everybody kayaking and or both.
On Facebook. I've seen you doing all of that stuff. It's fun. I love it.
And whenever we went out kayak diving just a week or two ago, and I remember thinking, oh, I can't go. I have too much work to do. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
You must. You need
to make the time. I agree.
And travel. It's not, you really do need to take a break in order to be productive when you are working.
I totally agree. You need to clear your head once in a while. So what's next for Chris Guld?
Well, coming right up, a couple of things that we're really excited about. We have a gig in New York City in September. We're going to be doing our teaching at a place called Senior Planet. And then as soon as we're done with that, we're flying out to Google, to the Googleplex, for a conference of the top contributors. And I'm really looking forward to that. Because of being in this top contributors group, I'm getting to meet and chat with people from all over the world. The other Google top contributors are that in my group, in the Google Photos group, are from England and Singapore and Africa. And I love being open to the world.
Oh, and what an opportunity. I remember that movie with, I can't remember the two guys, but it was The Interns or something like that.
I love that movie.
Oh my gosh, I've seen it 5 times. And I can't remember the guy's name now. It'll have to be weeded off.
It was really so fun.
Oh, I loved watching it. I had to watch it again and again because Google is really, without a doubt, one of the best business models and the way they take care of their people. You can tell it's evident because they really care about quality.
I think that's true. It's certainly been my experience from how the Google Photos top contributors group has been managed, that they don't just ask us to answer questions on Google Photos. They give us information every week that lets us know cool stuff that's going on at Google. And some of the stuff is pretty amazing.
That is so great. So how can our audience get in touch with you and connect?
All you need to know is geeksontour.com. We have lots of other sites and lots of other things going on, but hopefully it's pretty easy to find all of the others from geeksontour.com. Or Facebook, facebook.com/geeksontour. That's kind of where we put out things a couple times a week. But our website controls it all. And come to class on Sunday.
And how do they find that? They go to Google Plus or?
No, just go to geeksontour.com and there's a menu item that says weekly show. And everything that you need to know is there. We're on episode 86 now. And you can watch, all the archives of the recorded shows are there too. So geeksontour.com, weekly show.
That's weekly Google Hangouts on Sunday at 2 p.m.?
Yep.
2 p.m. Eastern time?
Yes, 2 p.m. Eastern time.
Excellent. All right, Chris, it's been a delight. I don't know if Jim wants to say anything, any final words. Just goodbye or whatever, but I just want to.
He's running over here.
Okay, Jim, any last comments you'd like to make?
No, this is very interesting. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. It's so thrilling. I love especially interviewing people I've known for a long time and just kind of getting a little bit more of the backstory, because I think people are always fascinated by the backstory. We're all looking for new ways of doing things. And I have found with every single one of my guests, I learned something new, or I see how their business model is. It may or may not pertain to me, but it certainly pertains to a lot of our audience. So I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy day and joining us today. Remember, everyone, check out geeksontour.com. Chris, thank you so much, and Jim, for being with us.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Heidi.
This is Heidi Richards Mooney from the EntreprenHer Show saying thank you all for joining us, and be sure to check out Women in E-Commerce at wecai.org. And again, check out geeksontour.com. Take care, Chris. Bye-bye.
Bye, Heidi.
So thank you all for being here. I was just writing into the site about checking out Women in E-Commerce at wecai.org. Thanks so much. Have a great day.